Enable.
A ver, yo ya
Ok.
lo empecé de mi parte. ¿También te aparece?
Sí.
Ok. Y también si puedes, así, bueno, vas a estar viendo los participantes, pero seguramente va a como a fluctuar. A lo mejor al principio va a haber un buen y a lo mejor entre más va pasando el tiempo, hacia el final, se van a reducir. Entonces, nada más como que ve cuál es el rango para decir, no sé,
Ok.
asistieron en el mínimo, no sé, 20, en un máximo 80. Entonces, el average fue, no sé, como 60 o algo así.
Sí, justo hay personas ahorita en el Google Meets, pero nadie está viendo mi mensaje. ¿Quieres que hable en el micrófono?
Sí, sí, porfi. Si no ven tu mensaje, diles así como de, ay, él va a ser en Zoom,
Ok, dame un segundo.
porfi.
No vayas a hablar, voy a hablar yo ahí porque si no el audio sí se va
Ok,
a pasar.
sí, sí, sí,
Ok.
ya luego te regresas, luego.
Sí, sí, sí. Ahorita voy a hablar entonces.
Ok.
Hello, the meeting will be in Zoom. The link is in the chat. Thank you. Creo que esto.
Y ahora sí que si no lo vieron, porque yo mandé como 3 correos, les mandé DM y todo, ya si no, pues ya.
Mm,
Un
ok,
minuto, amigos. Tum, tum, tum,
sí.
tum. Un minuto.
Déjame, me voy a poner en mute.
Sí. Uy, ya hay varias personas en el waiting room. Ok. ¿Listos? ¿Ready? Everyone? Ok, ready or not, here we go. Hello, hello, everyone. Let's let some people get in before we get started. Really excited to see everyone. Well, half seen because I think some of you have the camera off, but if you are up for it, please feel free to turn on your camera, but do not turn on your microphone so that there is better sound for everyone. So let's give maybe one more minute to let more people come in, and then we will get started for everyone that is here on time. So we have around 45, 46. Awesome. Hi, Ryan. Hello, hello, everyone. And please feel free to blow up the chat. Hi, Leaf. Hello. And if you want to share from where are you connecting, because I'm sure like probably you are in the US, probably you are India, you're in Taiwan, you're in Europe. So I would really love to know where are you joining from. Well, we still give a few more minutes. Hi, Brian. Hi, Ashley from Indiana. Ryan from Taiwan. Luis from Spain, Marbella. Oh my God, that's the beach, right? I love that. Joining from India, France, South Korea, Sri Lanka. Ash from India. Okay, great. Thanks for letting me know how to pronounce your name. I don't want to butcher anyone's. Rose from Vancouver. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. And okay, I think we are about 50 right now, and it's been past 2 minutes. So let's get started. And yeah, if there will be more people joining, it seems there are quite a handful of people in the waiting room, around 30. So let's give space for them to join. Yeah, I know. There are many time zones. Probably people from all over the world, marketers that are ready to hear the truth. So really, really excited, everyone. Yeah, okay, let's get started. Again, welcome and thank you so much for joining. I'm really excited you're here because this is literally about my first masterclass in about a year. So it's definitely nerve-wracking, but I'm really excited to be here and talk to everyone and share everything I have for you today. So, okay, today we're talking about how to land a 100K US dollar SaaS marketing role in 2026 without applying into the void. And okay, I just realized I'm not sharing screen yet. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Okay, there you go. And please do give me a thumbs up if everyone can see my screen. Oh, great. Now I can see faces of most of you. Okay, cool. So there you go. I'm going to go full screen. Yeah. Nice. And where's my chat? Okay, so I have a couple of monitors, so it's like all over the place, but there we are. Okay. So I want to say this right from the start because I think this is so important that we have in mind. This is not going to be like generic job search advice. I'm not here to tell you just optimize your resume, apply to more jobs, network harder in the big way people on LinkedIn repeat over and over. We're going to talk about what actually works right now in this market. Because the truth is, and probably you've heard this a million times, but a lot of really smart marketers are struggling. And probably if this is you, there is no shame in that. And it's not because you are not talented. It's not because you don't have the experience, because clearly you've had probably at least 5 to 7 years of experience, right? But that's because the market has changed in the last 3 to 1 year. It's crazy. But the thing is that most people are still approaching that search with the same playbook that worked probably 5, 6 years ago. It's a playbook that no longer matches how hiring actually works. So today we're going to unpack that. I want this to feel super practical, and this will be super, super honest. And I also want you to leave this session with a completely different understanding of how your career should work in today's market. Okay, so I have spoken with a few of you via DMs, but I'd love to know where you are right now. So please do type that number in the chat. Let me know where you are right now. Type 1 if you are applying but not getting results. Number 2, if you're getting interviews but no offers. Okay, thanks for blowing up the chat. 2s, 1s, and 3, if this is more of an exploratory thing, you're not actively applying and you're mostly exploring what's next. Okay, okay, 1, 3, 1 and 2, 1 and 3. Okay, I think most of what I can see is 1 or 2. Just choose the one that feels closest to your reality now. 1 and 2, okay. 2, 1. Okay, great. So that's mostly what I expected. And that's a great place to be because that means you are here, you're ready to take action. What I've noticed is that even though people's symptoms look different on their surface, like maybe you're a 1, maybe you're a 2, maybe you're a 3, the underlying problem is usually connected. And I want you to know something. None of this means you are failing. That's not failure. These are signals. Signals that something in this strategy and your communication needs to change. Now, I want to ask all of you something. And I know this may sound like a simple question, but I actually think this is one of the most important ones. What is your wildest dream by the end of this year for your career? And if you feel adventurous and you're keen to share, please let me know in the chat. And I don't mean like the realistic answer, like I want to get a job, like the answer that you almost feel uncomfortable saying out loud. That can be, I want to be working remotely from another country. Okay. Have fun and be engaged. That's amazing because life is not just work, right? It can be doubling your salary, probably leading a team, living a toxic environment, getting your confidence back. Yeah, get paid. Okay, that's a good one. I want to buy a house. Oh my God, yes. remotely work for a US or European company, be financially secure, that's great, more room for growth, have a seat at the table, that's so important. 4-day work week, that's amazing. Financial stability. Wow, thank you so much for sharing that. Change my car, save money again, of course. Have a high-paying remote job. That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. And the reason I'm asking this is also because I think a lot of people start job searching from fear. Sorry, if there is someone who hasn't muted their microphone, please help me do that. Thank you. And yeah, like when you start searching from fear, how does that feel, right? I just need something. I will take anything. I probably can get what I actually want. Yes, not good. Exactly. Thank you, Angie. And the moment you start operating from fear, what happens is that you start playing smaller. You start negotiating less. You stop seeing possibility. And today is about expanding that again. Because I truly believe most marketers are capable of far more than the market is currently reflecting back to them. And once your strategy finally matches that level, things turn around really fast. Now, today we're going to cover 3 big things. First, how to stand out in a market full of qualified marketers. Because that's a real problem right now. Most companies are not struggling to find qualified candidates. They're actually overwhelmed by them. Second, how to turn interviews into high-paying offers. Because getting interviews is not the same thing as knowing how to position yourself inside the conversation. And number 3, the exact system that more than 50 marketers are using to land roles faster. A repeatable framework that you can actually implement. And throughout this session, I'm going to show you real examples, client stories, and the reason why all of this works. So if you want to get the most out of this session, you are going to do these 3 things. First, you're going to remove distractions for the next 60 minutes or so, because I know everyone loves to multitask right now, but this is one of those conversations where very small shifts can completely change how you approach your career. So if you're like half listening and checking Slack and LinkedIn notifications, you're going to miss the nuggets that actually matter. Second, write down anything that stands out to you. Patterns, realizations, things that make you feel uncomfortable. And number 3, start applying what you learn today within the next 24 hours, because information without action changes nothing. And I don't want this to become just another webinar that you sign up, you consume, you feel inspired by 1 or 2 days, and then forget. I want this to become a turning point. And yes, you are going to receive the recording about within the next 24 hours. So if there is something you really, really want to go back to, you're going to have that. Okay, so you are in the right place if you are in any of these situations. You are in the right place if you are a SaaS marketer or thinking of transitioning into SaaS with at least 7 years of experience and you want to land a high-paying role, whatever this number is for you, because probably for someone in the US, someone in India, this is going to vary a lot. You're in the right place if you've applied to dozens of roles and you haven't heard anything back. If you're getting interviews, even getting final rounds, but that offer never comes. If you're getting offers, but those offers are either below your level or just not aligned with what you actually want. If you have tried all the tips and tricks that gurus and people out there are saying you should do, but they haven't worked for you. And especially if deep down, you are starting to suspect that there has to be a better way. Because the good news is there is a better way. And that's what we are going to unpack today. Now, let's be honest about what's actually happening in the market for a second. AI is shifting how we work. Massive layoffs are happening across tech. This is nothing new. Probably over the last 3 years, almost 100,000 people are getting laid off in tech. Competition is at ever high, and hiring expectations have become incredibly demanding. So if your confidence has taken a hit recently, I need you to understand something that does not automatically mean you are less valuable. You're operating inside a very, very noisy and very crowded market. And when you don't understand that context, you start personalizing everything. Maybe I'm not senior enough. Maybe I'm asking for too much. Maybe I should settle for this. And if you're having these kind of thoughts, that's completely normal. But I'm going to tell you something. The marketers who are winning right now, the ones that you see out there announcing, I'm happy to announce I'm having this new role, are the ones who adapted faster to all of these conditions in their environment. I want you to see you're not alone. These are messages from real people that I receive every single week. Marketers are applying for months. They are getting ghosted. They are seeing roles reposted over and over and over again, making it to final rounds and still losing. And if this is how you feel, there's no shame on that. You can let us know in the chat because I want other people to see that you are not alone. If this is you, just type in the chat, this is me. You are seen. Everyone is seeing you. And I want you to know there's no shame in that. After enough rejection, thank you. Yeah, I know. See, there's a lot of people just going through exact the same journey. You are not failing. But what happens? Yeah, ghosting, exactly. After enough rejection, what happens? You stop trusting yourself. And if this is you, again, that's the completely normal cycle, right? It's a vicious cycle. Like good things happen, you go up, but then rejection, ghosting, and then you go down the valley of despair. But that's the real danger. Not only rejection, but what rejection teaches you to believe about yourself. Because eventually, rejection teaches you to stop moving on strategically and start reacting emotionally. Yes, the market is incredibly difficult, but it's also full of opportunity. As well as AI has shifted the way we work, it has also helped us become better marketers and, I dare to say, more attractive marketers in the job market. Companies are still hiring. They are hiring and they are growing. Like marketing roles have grown 30% over the last couple of years. Salaries for experienced marketers are growing, right? And last but not least, you have receipts. What does that mean? It means that you have done the work, you have brought in results, you have at least 7 years of experience. And as I was looking through profiles of all of you that are right here, some of you have even more than 20 years of experience. So it's not that you don't have the experience, right? Like you have done the work, you can say, this is what I did. So if you ask me, I'm going to say this and you're probably going to think I am crazy, but there has never been a great time to be a senior marketer. Like this is the best time. This is not a hopeless market. And I want you to have that in mind. This is not a hopeless market, but it's a market that rewards clarity a lot more aggressively than before. Now, imagine if you could be in a role where you're excited about the product, the team, and the work. Imagine getting consistent outreach from hiring managers and recruiters right into your inbox every single week. If you could land offers, sometimes even on the spot, within 60 to 90 days, 2 to 3 months. Imagine if you're earning more than your previous role, whatever that number means to you. If you could build a career that gives you lifestyle freedom, and moreover, a career you feel confident about. Because a lot of people forget that job searching is not only trying to change the slide. Okay, I'm here. Sorry, okay. Tech. Oh, thank you so much for letting me know. With tech, you never know. Okay, you can have all of these without sending thousands of applications into the void, tweaking your resume, and cover letter for the 100th time without sending awkward transactional networking that sometimes go anywhere and you end up getting ghosted. And you definitely do not need to have a huge LinkedIn following. Posting stuff that is not authentic to you. And you definitely do not need to constantly feeling that you are not enough. Because the goal is not becoming someone else. But first, if probably you're following me on LinkedIn, but you may not know who am I and why should you even listen to me. So I'm going to share a little bit of my story. I actually come from Mexico and started my career in corporate. I spent 5 years working at big companies like Unilever and Pepsi, all of them in sales or strategy roles. And yes, that's me. I was dressing like that with those high heels that were super uncomfortable. On paper, things look great. And for 5 years, I worked at these really big companies, made really good money for someone who had recently graduated. I had good titles, worked at fancy offices, and everything looked like I was living my best life. But little by little, something about myself started getting lost. So at 25, with the very limited understanding I had about life and how careers actually work, I did what I thought I had to do. I quit my job, bought a one-way ticket to Taiwan, and thought, okay, maybe another degree, maybe an MBA. Like that will help me finally get a job I actually like. I can get freedom and that pays super well. And honestly, Gina 2026, I'm hearing myself saying that right now, and I'm like, oh boy, I was so wrong. But that's what I did. I moved to Taiwan, a country where I literally didn't know anyone. I didn't speak the language. I had absolutely no friends. I just show up. And actually, those were the best years of my life. I loved being a student again. But then 2 years passed. Summer came around and I was about to graduate from my MBA and I was completely jobless. My student visa was about to expire. My savings were running out, which meant I had to leave Taiwan if I couldn't find a company willing to sponsor me. Suddenly, having 5 years of corporate experience at Unilever, Pepsi, big companies, plus an MBA degree meant absolutely nothing. And I remember I was feeling really terrified because that was one of the first moments when I truly realized the traditional path doesn't really work anymore. And this was many years ago. I also realized that if I kept doing the same things, I was going to get exactly the same results. So I focused on the one thing I didn't have at all, getting access to the right people. So I put myself out there like crazy. I went to countless networking events. Some of them were quite uncomfortable, community meetups, job fairs, until I eventually met the head of community of a photo and video app. It's a very small American tech startup. And that encounter changed my career. That's actually how I landed my first role in tech. But despite everything I believed about my experience, my MBA, my corporate background, thinking that would solve all of my problems, I still had to start from scratch. Because having those 5 years of experience in Unilever, Pepsi, and everything, I still started as an intern. That was a long time ago, back at Collage. Then after that, I moved on to Composely and then eventually to Arc.dev. All of them were fully remote roles for American startups while being based in Taiwan. And actually, those years at Arc made the biggest impact on my career as it is today. For those who aren't familiar, and this is important, Arc is our remote hiring marketplace that helps companies hire remote talent. And this is not sponsored. That's where I discovered what I'm truly passionate about, helping other people land the same kind of opportunities that had completely changed my life. Remote opportunities so you can work anywhere in the world, not limited by your geography, by how much you need to get paid, by anything. So, because I was working inside the hiring industry itself, I also started seeing things that most candidates simply don't have access to. I understood how companies actually hire, how recruiters think, what makes candidates stand out, and why some people get opportunities out of nowhere while others get ignored. And at the same time, I kept growing as a marketer too. I went from growth, community growth, and on to managing a social media team. I partner very closely with recruiters, helping vet and match marketing talent with clients while also hiring for my own team. So at that point, I had become both a senior startup marketer and a hiring manager, and I was like right on top of my career, so I thought, when layoffs started happening everywhere. Layoff after layoff after layoff, including at ARC. And I remember I thought, if I don't do something right now, after our second round of layoffs, maybe I'm gonna end up in exactly the same position. And yeah, thanks, Ryan. If you have been laid off, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There's no shame in that because that's literally happening a lot. And I've talked to a lot of people that are telling me, like, I'm collecting layoffs at this point. I was laid off as well. But thankfully, before I got laid off, I had already started building my personal brand because of what I have learned before. I explored a side hustle as a career coach. So by the time the layoff happened, like the whole company just bye. One day you wake up and you're like, your job is gone. But I already had visibility online. I had built relationships with hundreds of marketers, recruiters, founders, and I had a growing out audience around my work and my ideas. And I'm not exaggerating when I say that just days after getting laid off, recruiters and founders started reaching out to me with opportunities. And that's actually how I landed my first head of growth role with a 50% higher salary than what I was making, fully remote from anywhere in the world. All of this from a founder who DM'd me like months before I was laid off. And we just stayed in touch. And eventually I got laid off. And he was like, you have to come work with me. And this is just an example of the recruiters and founders who have reached out to me with opportunities in the past year without me even searching. Because if you go look at my profile, probably you can tell that I'm job searching, but this is just what happened. And eventually, I created a system from the exact same strategy I used to turn my reality around to help marketers like me in the exact same position I was. And that system became repeatable. That is the very same system that has helped 50 marketers like Jess, like Nina, like Varun to land high paying roles they genuinely love at companies like Microsoft, TikTok, Meta, Jamf, Kraft Heinz, and also other tech startups. These marketers have landed more than almost $500,000 in combined offers worldwide, and also an average of 30,000 US dollar in salary increases. And I'm not sharing this because I want to brag and I'm like, I'm the best. I'm sharing this because I want you to understand something. This is possible, even in today's crazy and competitive market. So my goal today is two things. Number one, save you months of frustration, self-doubt, and low confidence in your search. And second, giving you a repeatable system to help you land the marketing role you actually want. Because I genuinely believe most marketers are closer than they think. They just don't have the right framework yet. And probably that's why you're here. Now, I want to show you how this actually looks in real life. Because I can sit here and tell you what needs to change and what to do differently, do this and that. But maybe you're thinking, okay, how does this actually work for someone like me? So I want you to meet Jess. And if I'm not wrong, Jess is, oh yes, there you are. Jess is
Hi,
here with us
Gina.
today. Hi, Jess. Thank you so much for joining us. And
Yeah.
I would love for everyone to hear directly from her experience because I know many of you will probably relate to her experience. So, Jess,
Yeah.
welcome. I will mute
Thank
myself.
you. Hi, everyone. It's great to meet you all. I just want to let you all know that just a couple months ago, I was in the same position as you, seeing the one and twos at the beginning of this presentation, not getting any interviews or getting any interviews and not hearing back. Was just feeling really discouraged in today's job market, working at the same time in a current job that was really unfulfilling and difficult for me, and just kind of found myself in a place of being like, what do I do next? And that is when I found Gina on LinkedIn and I met her and we did our consultation call together. And I just really noticed how much she cares about truly everyone here. Like, she really wants to help people succeed and end up in an environment for them that is the best case scenario. So, yeah, before Gina, like I mentioned, I was applying to roles and not really hearing anything, not really gaining any traction. And after working with Gina, I really gained a lot of clarity in my messaging and what I was working towards, and confidence in what I was working towards, I would say is probably the biggest thing. She helped me so much with my LinkedIn, my resume, my interview prep. And just after 2 months of working with her, I landed my dream role for now as a marketing specialist at a smaller nonprofit, fully remote company. So yeah, it was the best experience of my life. I have no regrets.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much just for sharing that. And I think, like, seriously, you have generally been one of the persons I loved working the most with, not because you like probably had the best title or like, I don't know, you did the best work ever, because of course I'm not here to talk about your work experience, but because you showed up committed and you got rid of all of the things you believed before about how the market was, and the ceiling that you had, like ceilings were broken. So that's thank you so much for sharing that, Jess, again. And I think that's one of the biggest changes that people I work with and people that are winning out there, whether they work with me or not, is that they are changing their beliefs and how they think about the things they can achieve. So, okay, let's move on. This masterclass will contradict a lot of the advice you have heard online, because probably most of the job search advice out there comes from people that has never been laid off. Sorry, I was looking at the chat and I love that Jess is really encouraging everyone and everyone is encouraging her. I love that. We're all in this together. Most of the job search advice comes from people who have never been laid off, have never searched in this market, or have never been the hiring manager making the final choice. And that matters because you don't need more advice from people trying to sell you the tips and tricks and the tactics. You need to understand how hiring decisions are made from people who actually make them. And I'm going to say this, and I say this from the bottom of my heart, but also with all the respect. You don't need more advice from recruiters who don't have any decision power, because what do recruiters do? They filter out. And sometimes recruiters don't even understand what a job actually needs. Even though they talk to the hiring manager and everything, the only one who truly understands what they need, how they feel, and what's the solution to their excruciating pain is a hiring manager. And they are not sitting there obsessing over every tiny resume detail the way candidates think they are. Most of it you will need to believe in yourself and that you will succeed. Sounds cheesy, but I said that. If you don't believe that you can make it, it will not happen for you. Now, this is how I see marketers constantly getting in their own way. Probably you are over applying to every single job without a strategy. You may not have a clear sense of the value that you bring. Maybe you're not starting conversations with the right people because that's uncomfortable. Or maybe you are just not showing up on LinkedIn, so you stay invisible. You're probably waiting for roles to appear instead of creating your own pipeline of opportunities. And deep down, you're not fully believing that the opportunity you want, the one that is high paid, the one that is remote, the one that allows you to have a 4-day work week is available to you. And this last one matters a lot more than you realize. Because when you don't believe something is possible for you, you behave differently. You play smaller, you hesitate, you settle faster, you made excuses for everything and not keep trying. Now, if you stay until the end, I will do a live Q&A. So please do put your questions in the chat. I forgot to make that reminder even at the beginning, but please put your questions in the chat. We're going to be collecting them, and I'm going to get to all of your questions at the end of the masterclass. And I'm going to also invite you to work with me along with a one-time bonus offer you don't want to miss. Okay, so let's move on. And if you're gonna make a screenshot of anything today, this is it. This is the core framework, and everything we've talked about until now lives here. The go-to-market method. And the reason why I call it like this is because marketers, we already understand this supernatural. I believe most of us should be marketers, so I don't need to explain what go-to-market is, right? If you were launching a product, you would never randomly just throw it into the market, see what happens. You would never just throw it out there and hope people understand why is my product great. You would never put it out there and just pray someone will buy from you. As a marketer, what would you do? You would define the audience, the positioning, the messaging. What's your proof? Where are your testimonials? The distribution channels, and what's your conversion strategy? How can you get your leads to go all the way down the funnel to buy from you and to keep coming back to you? Your career works exactly the same way. And probably you're there thinking, why should I treat my job search like a marketing campaign? Like, I'm going to tell you, in today's market, the candidates who are winning are not always the most qualified. And you know this. They are the ones who are positioning themselves so clearly, the ones who communicate their value so effectively, and the ones who repeatedly market their experience. And that's a keyword, repeatedly. Market their experience in a way that builds trust. And I know some people here, market yourself, and you immediately feel uncomfortable and your body goes like super stiff and you're like, I don't want to do that. But this is not about becoming fake. It's about making your value easier to understand. Because a lot of you, maybe incredible talented marketers, are invisible. Not because you lack the ability, but because the market cannot see clearly the value that you bring. And we're going to tackle that next. Oh, sorry. Okay, there you go. How does this work? You are the product or the service, however you want to see yourself. Hiring managers are your target audience, and positioning is what makes you stand out in a market full of equally qualified candidates. This is one of the biggest mind shifts I want you making today. Most candidates think hiring is only about qualifications. I have heard thousands of times. I have applied to many jobs where I'm super qualified for. But hiring is not just about that. I know it sucks, but it's not. It's about perception. How quickly can someone understand who you are, what you solve, and why should they trust you? Is what got hired Yvette, who I can clearly tell who is she working for. She has very specific visuals. She has results, and I'm just talking about her her LinkedIn profile, the upper part. And someone like maybe Gabriella, that I know nothing about her. I don't know what she does, what she's good for, so I pass on. Okay, now let's understand the psychology behind hiring. Hiring is emotional before it's logical. And I think this surprises people because probably you think, okay, hiring is something I do at work, so it needs to be like a task. So therefore, it's strategic and it's logical. It's not. If you're a hiring manager, you probably know what I mean. Because candidates assume hiring managers are sitting there objectively evaluating qualifications, like if we are machines, if we are robots, like, okay, does this candidate has all of these requirements? That's really not how it works. Hiring managers are super overwhelmed, even more if they are working at a tiny startup where they have a lot of thousand things to do. They are busy. They're under pressure. And most importantly, hiring managers are trying to reduce risk. Every hire is risky. So subconsciously, they are asking, do I trust this person? Do they feel credible? Can they solve my problem? Will they make my life easier? And that's the lens through which you are evaluated. So how do hiring managers mitigate that risk? They start searching within their circle of trust. People they know, probably even their own team, people they work with, because that's the lowest level of risk, probably 10% risk. Then what happens? They go up to people that maybe show up online consistently and repeatedly with such a clear message about who they are, what they do, that makes them memorable. I don't know these people, but I have seen them so many times that I feel like I know them. So that's probably a 30% risk. Only after, that's when recruiters come in. And as I mentioned, I have worked with recruiters for a long time and I love them, but also sometimes when a recruiter doesn't have the same background that you're hiring for, they may not even understand what the role is and are looking to fill a job description. They are looking to get a lot of candidates on the pipeline that are just like checking tasks on a job description. So the risk goes up to 50%. Until that point, if they haven't found a potential hire yet, is when a role actually gets posted. And that's you, like right outside of the circle of trust. Far outside, probably 70% risk of people applying, where probably there's a lot other bunch of people that are already halfway through the process. Yes, and keep putting all your questions in the chat. I'm gonna get at them at the end. So that's why you don't want to be the random stranger of the internet. You want to already be in their orbit. That first or second layer that we saw before. So that means they have probably seen your content, they have heard your name, they recognize your expertise, or they feel some familiarity with your work. Because being familiar reduces perceived risk. And the easier you make it for someone to understand why you are the solution to their problems, the easier hiring decisions become. So I'm going to get back to the go-to-market method, and everything comes down to 4 parts. Your top of the funnel, where positioning belongs, your middle of the funnel, where there is proof and proximity, and your bottom of the funnel, that's where interviews happen. When one of these is weak, your search feels inconsistent. When all of them work together, your search feels like a system instead of random luck. So let's go one by one. TOFU is your awareness and discovery stage. This is where people first start understanding who you are, what you do, and what you should be known for. This is where most marketers are unclear because we never sit down to actually think, what's the value I bring? That feels like I'm not doing any work because real work is going out there and applying. It's not. Sometimes what I see is marketers that are sounding too broad, too general, or that they are interchangeable. That's why positioning matters so much. Now, what the heck is positioning? Because that's a really big buzzword out there. Positioning at its core is the mental hook or reputation that people associate with you. It's the answer to what do I immediately think when I hear your name? And these are the elements. You have a target audience, exactly who you're trying to reach. You have a category reference, the industry or function you operate at and you're great at. The specific problems you solve and the value you bring. And what are the reasons why other people should believe in you? Probably that's your proof points, your expertise, your results. And you have a story. A story is something that is unique to you. I can share the same story as the other qualified candidate. So sometimes it's that story that makes you stand out. It's what makes Natalie someone I will remember versus probably someone like Jay, who I'm sure she's a great marketer, but as I'm probably looking at their LinkedIn profile, which is the entry point for every single search, that's how it becomes invisible. And one of the biggest mistakes I see marketers making is describing themselves through responsibilities instead of the value that they bring. They say things like, and if you have any of these words in your profile, I swear I was not looking at your specific profile, but probably you're saying experienced leader, data-driven, strategic, accomplished. And there is one that I have seen a lot of times, and my favorite, award-winning marketer. While all of that may be true, you have probably won thousands of awards. That creates a problem. It makes you sound broad instead of specific. And hiring managers, out of all of the candidates that they see, all of them being award-winning, experienced leaders, and data-driven, they don't remember broad. They remember guilty. And I love that Ryan is out there saying, like, I'm guilty of this. If you're guilty, that's completely fine. And feel free to also share if you have done any of those things in the chat. That's okay. I mentioned it's going to be like super honest and super transparent. And I'm not saying this to guilt trip you. I'm saying this so you understand what may not be working right now. And probably that's the reason that you never imagined, okay, if I make this tiny change, it may make a difference. And I want to share a story of Nicole. Nicole, she's actually a really great example of this because she really had a strong experience, but she was freelancing for a couple of years before she actually landed a full-time job. And that freelancing created a perception problem. And I have talked to many marketers, and if you're one of those, please do let me know. But maybe you have been freelancing, you have had your own practice, you have been a consultant for a long time, and you are ready to get back into a full-time job. Companies are naturally hesitant to view yourself as a strong full-time hire. And that's what happened to Nicole. All of her assets lacked a clear narrative around the exact marketing role she wanted and why she wanted that role. So even though she was super qualified, all of her applications were blending in the market. Thank you. I'm seeing some people that are exactly in that situation. So long story short, what changed? We made it super, super clear why she was ready to get back into full-time roles. We clarified her positioning and built a proactive strategy around visibility and outreach. And in 17 days, like this is seriously one of the shortest hiring processes I've heard of. 17 days, she landed a fully remote lifecycle marketing manager role at an American startup while she's living in Portugal. She's not in the US, she's in Portugal. And I'm saying this because I hear a lot of people saying like, oh, I cannot land a job because I'm not in the US. It's harder, but it's possible. That's what happens when the market finally understands where to place you. Now, we move down our funnel to the consideration stage. And this is really the meaty part because this is where trust gets built. Awareness alone, it's not enough. People may understand who you are, but now they need the evidence. Like, why should I even believe you? They need to believe those claims. They need to trust your expertise, and you need to show them the receipts. You need to show them the proof. Proof is what makes your positioning believable. Anyone can say, again, these buzzwords, strategic, data-driven, growth-oriented, professional leader, whatever, but proof answers. Where are the receipts? And this is where most marketers accidentally weaken their credibility. So let me show you what strong proof actually looks like. Okay, so this is Eric. Meet Eric. He is super crazy specific about the results he has brought to every single role in every single of his assets. On his LinkedIn, on his portfolio, that is actually pinned on her LinkedIn, his resume, he's not just saying, I did this thing. He shows how he did that and what changed because of him. Now, this is a very interesting piece of feedback he received because Eric, he is having 2 to 3 interviews every single week from inbound outreach. And our recruiter actually told him that it's almost impossible to find someone with a portfolio. This recruiter thought he'd be a great fit based on what they saw on his portfolio and how he presented things. Like his portfolio was out there. He was saying, I have the receipts. Here's what I've done. Here is what I have done. Here's what changed because of what I did. A recruiter noticed and reached out. And he actually said, your methodology works. Like he was in awe because he couldn't believe that. Can you imagine you're getting this feedback for yourself? Now, you can have strong positioning, strong proof, and still struggle if the right people never see you. That's why the next part matters so much. Proximity, including networking and personal branding. And I think networking is one of the most misunderstood concepts in career growth because I can say networking, and probably you want to leave this masterclass right now. Okay, let's debunk some myths. Networking, you may imagine cold messages, transactional conversations, the classic I DM the hiring manager and recruiter after I apply. And that is networking. But that's not what real networking is. Networking, at its core, is the long-term process of building mutually beneficial relationships. Notice the keyword long-term process of building mutually beneficial relationships based on trust and shared interests. That's it. He's not saying I am DMing someone to ask them to give me something. And the funny thing is, the best people, or the people that are best at networking, are usually not the most extroverted. They are the people who stay visible, helpful, curious, and consistent over time. And I'm gonna show you how that looks like. It's not DMing someone to check if there are upcoming opportunities in their team. It's certainly not DMing the hiring manager after applying to let them know you have applied and ask for a chat. No, it's opening a door, just opening a door. Elements of great networking are being personable, being likable, being specific, and asking good questions. This is exactly how I've built hundreds of mutually beneficial relationships. I want to show you this because this is a practical example. This is the first conversation I had with Kim. She's very active on LinkedIn, so you have probably heard of her. She's leading customer marketing at BrightHire. I was a long-time follower of hers, and I absolutely love her content. Yeah, I love her too. I sent her this connection note because when I think of employer branding, genuinely, like, she's the first person that comes to mind, and probably she posted something I really like, and I just let her know. Like, I was not, please talk to me or anything. Like, I want to work with your team. No, it's like, I love what you do. You're the first person I think when I think of this, and I would love to connect. I complimented her. I think I was nice. I was nice, and she actually replied. Then I was helpful. I told her, if you need something, please do let me know. I'm gonna cheer on your posts. Yeah, and that's what I said. Then she actually reached back out to me asking for a favor, which of course I did. And then probably months later, I also reached out to her so she could come interview in my podcast. She said yes. That's how you build a relationship. I love the Logan is just sharing a really good example. I haven't looked at it, but I love that people are sharing helpful resources. So if you have something, just feel free to do that. Here's another example. Joey, he is leading marketing at a company I absolutely love, and I actually use their product. Probably you have done that as well, Safety Wing. So I found Joey. He was recently hired as the head of marketing. So I reached out and I was like, hey, I love this company. I love seeing you're doing marketing there. That's it. I didn't say anything else. He replied. And he actually saw I am from Mexico. That's like basically my location. And I probably talk about that in my about section. And he continued the conversation by signaling that commonality. We had a conversation why I had never visited Oaxaca, which is a place in Mexico. And I felt really, really terrible because I am Mexican. And he has been there for a long time. So I said, if you ever come to Guanajuato, that's the state I'm in right now, please feel free to reach out. And then he told me I'm going in June, and we're like, oh, we should meet up. That's it. That's so cool. That's how you develop a relationship. Now, Israel, he's a perfect good example of powerful proximity and positioning, how they coming together. It's like, great. Israel, probably like many of you right here, he had more than 20 years of experience. Probably he had around 25 to 30 all combined. So clearly experience was not the issue. He had unclear positioning for how a next level role would look for him. Like, he was already a partner marketing director, but he was not clear on what the next step would look like for him. He had a very strong network, but he wasn't actively leveraging it. And he was feeling uncertain about layoffs and what came next. He didn't wait until the market pushed him out by force. What changed was not suddenly that he became more qualified because he already had like 20 years of experience, but we clarified his executive narrative and we helped him become more visible and intentional on how he approached opportunities. Within 4 weeks, he landed a role at Microsoft entirely from inbound outreach. With this great package, 200K base salary and a lot of bonuses, and literally This was the next step he was looking for because it meant a lot more responsibility. That's what happens when the market finally sees you at the level you're actually operating. There's another major piece of the consideration stage, which is trust building. And honestly, this is the part most marketers resist at first, which is personal branding. What is personal branding? It's not pretending you're an influencer. It's not posting motivational quotes every day. It's not becoming someone fake. Personal brand is simply the reputation you build through repeated visibility. It's how people understand your expertise, your thinking, your perspective, and the kind of work you are associated with. Your brand translates into your positioning, your profile, your content strategy, and how you engage with others online. And everything of this happens on LinkedIn because that's the #1 and only professional network. Whether people realize it or not, you already have a personal brand. Probably you are there like, what? I don't even post. How come? It's true. The question is whether you are shaping that brand intentionally or you're letting others stop by your profile and shape your identity for yourself. And this is a very clear example. The same thing happened to Varun. Varun, he is this amazing product marketer, and I admire him so much. He actually runs the largest product marketing community in India. But there were no signs of that on his LinkedIn. Like the first time I called with him, he was sharing all of these great things he did, and I could see how a strong candidate he was. But there was no trace of that on his LinkedIn. So what we did is activate that positioning, his content strategy. He started doing all these types of content, engaging with others. He made really powerful visuals, branding that people would associate to either to his own community and to himself. He's just started showing up. He was actively talking about what he did. And I'm not joking. After we put those basics in place, like probably 3 to 4 weeks after, he started getting inbound outreach like crazy. And I'm saying inbound outreach from American companies, and he is based in India. For someone who's based outside of the US, this is crazy. And these are companies that are huge. After you get visible, people that matter understand where to place you faster. They remember you, and people can refer you with a lot more confidence. Because going back to the psychology of hiring, every referral, every hire is risky. I'm putting myself on the line for this person. So suddenly, your search stops feeling random because now the market has context around who you are and what you're known for. Last but not least, conversion and decision. This is where interviews become offers. And here is where most of talented marketers lose opportunities they were fully qualified for. Being qualified, it's not enough if you cannot communicate the value that you bring. And you will certainly not get here if your tofu, if your mofu aren't strong enough. Now, the marketers who convert interviews best are not always the ones with the strongest resumes, the ones that are most qualified and have all the experience in the world. They are the ones who communicate business impact, strategic thinking, confidence, ownership. This is what matters are seen at senior level because you don't need any more qualifications. Hiring managers are listening for signals in every stage of the process, from your preparation, through your interview, through the follow-up. Can this person solve problems? Can they think strategically? Can they operate independently? Can I trust them at this level? And the one most people don't even realize, do I even want to work with them? Like interviews are also about chemistry, about being likable. You're not only answering questions, you are shaping perception. And what is perception? That's positioning. And we go back to our top of the funnel. You can get here if your positioning, your proof, and your proximity are all over the place. Like Kelly, she had incredible experience. She actually worked at Apple for like 10 years or something. Then she went on at Jam, or other big tech company, but she was still being perceived as the manager level. Her resume was focusing too much on responsibilities as well as her LinkedIn instead of business impact that actually matters, revenue, scaling, leadership impact. And in interviews, she was so not confident. She was not yet communicating. The executive level, she was already prepared for because she had done the work. So once we changed that, she actually landed 2 offers in 6 weeks, and she had a 30K increase in her base salary. She got that promotion from manager to director, and that was just in 6 weeks. That's the difference between being someone qualified and being someone and sounding undeniable. Now, we're almost wrapping up, but here is what I want you remembering. The old playbook that is applying, hoping, and repeating, that no longer works in the same way in today's market. Without visibility and differentiation, you become invisible in a sea of equally qualified candidates. And proximity to decision makers, hiring managers, the ones that actually make the last choice. You need to build that before you need them. And that changes everything about how opportunities find you. Because opportunities move so different when trust already exists before the formal process begins. And last but not least, following a proven system will lead you to interviews and turning them into offers. Now, there are 3 types of people in this room. The first type is the listener. Probably you're here, you're taking notes, you will feel inspired for a few days and will do nothing with this information. The second type of person is the DIYer. You will try to piece everything together by yourself. And that's completely okay. Some people can do that. There's no shame in that. And the third type of person is the accelerator. Accelerators understand if they want faster results, they will need support from someone who has done it hundreds of times successfully with accountability, strategy, and feedback. So from now on, I will be speaking to the accelerators. And after this, I will start with the Q&A session. I want to remind you that success is not an outcome. Success is actually a decision. That's why at the beginning I told you, this won't matter if you don't believe that you can actually get there. It's a decision to stop playing small, to stop waiting for permission, and to stop letting fear control your strategy. Fully committed to becoming the person that is capable of landing the opportunities you actually want. Every marketer I've worked with, like all the Jesses, all the Kellys, all the Israels, all the Varoons, they had one thing in common. They decided they were going to make it happen, and they showed up committed to it. So I want to invite you to go on a journey from constantly chasing opportunities, doubting yourself, wondering why nothing is landing. Like Jess, she shared her story with us months ago, invisible, to becoming unmissable. The one the market clearly understands, remembers, and trusts. And like Jess today, the one who received that offer for that company with that salary right now. And with everything I have shared today, the stories, the system, it would honestly feel super insane if I didn't show you how I helped all of these marketers implement that. So I want to introduce you the Career Ribbon Accelerator. This is the exact system that all of the marketers are showed you right here, used to land roles they loved. And it's open for enrollment. In 12 weeks, we will work together to help you become the obvious hire for your target role, not through tips and tricks, not through hacks, but by helping the market finally understand the value that you already bring. And that's why this works so well for experienced marketers, because most people don't need to become more qualified. You need better positioning, better communication, and a better strategy. Now, these are the milestones that we're going to hit together through the program. We're going to define your career North Star, like basically define where are you going. Then we're going to define what your positioning is. How should the market understand your value? That is the core of all of these things. Then that positioning needs proof. So we're going to work on each one of your assets, your resume, your LinkedIn, your portfolio. I will give you my networking conversion system. How do you get access to the right people and build relationships that don't feel awkward? We will build you a magnetic personal brand that feels natural to you, not like influencer type, but something that feels authentic. And last but not least, how to interview the right way and close interviews into offers like a top 1% candidate. How are we going to hit all of these milestones? Inside the accelerator, you will get the $100,000 role blueprint. This is going to be your job search Bible. One-on-one coaching, bi-weekly office hours, resume and LinkedIn makeover done by my team of expert resume writers. You're going to get curated roles for your own discipline and a community, because job searching alone is so emotionally exhausting. So we are actually doing this together. This program is for you if you are a senior or mid-level SaaS marketer with at least 7 years of experience targeting high-paying roles. Again, this will vary depending where you are. It is for you if you have tried the tips and tactics, but they haven't created consistent results. And it is for you if you are ready to finally stop depending on the market and start attracting the opportunities that you want. Because there is a huge difference between people who are like, please pick me, and confidence that shows up as, here is why I'm the obvious fit for this role. And that's the shift the program helps you build. This is your ticket to landing roles that are aligned with your strengths and your lifestyle, earning more than your previous roles, and replacing months of random applying with a strategic system. 6 challenges that will be holding you back. And this is what I hear from people every single time when I talk to them. Gina, I don't know what roles I want. That's career clarity, and we have a model for that. Gina, I really don't know what makes me different. That is your positioning. Gina, my resume is not working. Like, I always get rejected. Okay, that's communication, and that is proof. So we're going to learn that, and actually you are not going to have to do your resume yourself. I hate networking. I'm very embarrassed to reach out. That's your proximity strategy, and that's model 7. Gina, I don't like posting on LinkedIn. Like, I don't even know how to do it, and that sucks. That's personal branding, and we're going to do that in a way that's authentic to you. Gina, I freeze in interviews. Like, I have all this experience, but when I get there, I just don't know what to say. That is communication and interview conversion. And there's a difference between candidates like that close as the top 1% candidate. Every single part of the program is designed around solving real breakdowns that stop talented marketers from moving forward. As long as you have the mindset and the willingness to execute this system, this will work for you. Not because the market is magically easy and it's not crazy anymore. No, it's because strategy compounds. And now, here is your exclusive offer for people that join to this masterclass. Here is the enrollment offer for today. The full investment of the program is $5,250. But if you book a call with me right now through the link right here by May 21st, your investment will be $4,250. And that can be split into payments of $2,125. Now, if you pay in full, your investment will drop to $3,250. That is $2,000 in savings for taking action today. And all you have to do is book a call through that QR code and lock in a spot to chat with me from today until May 21st. I already have open slots this afternoon. The core program itself runs for 12 weeks. But because you joined this call, I'm also including ongoing coaching support until you land the role. This is one-time offer just for people in this masterclass who book a call through this link until May 21st, which is this Thursday. So that's 2 days from now. On that call, what's going to happen? First of all, we're going to confirm whether the program is the right fit for you and if you are the right fit for the program. We're going to choose a start date, we're going to set up payment, and we will get you fully onboarded and ready to begin your journey. So maybe next week, you are getting started in this journey. I want to ask you, what would you do with an extra $2,500 to $3,000 per month? Because that is the average raise that every marketer gets once they go through this program. Maybe that means for you more savings, buying a house, people were saying before, buying a car, traveling more. This is the exact opportunity you're leaving on the table if you don't make a decision to commit to your growth. What did Israel, Kelly, Nicole, Jess, Varun, Nina all had in common? They showed up committed. They showed up fully. They implemented the system. They completed all the assignments. And the most important part, mindset. Mindset. They started showing up like the CEO of their career, of their search, instead of letting the market pick them. And that is huge because once you stop waiting for someone else to save your career, your energy changes you completely. I want to remind you, you didn't join this class by mistake. You are here because part of you already knows you're capable of much more than what you've been getting. You're tired of endlessly applying, second guessing yourself, wondering why the market is not reflecting your actual level. And deep down, you know you don't need more certifications, you don't need more experience. You have already done the hard part. You built that. Now you need the team, the system, and the framework to get you the opportunities that you want. So I'm gonna leave this screen up while we move to the Q&A. Here is the QR code to book a call. And I only have 5 spots to take on for the next few months. So again, if you sign up for this masterclass until May 21st, you will get $2,000 off if you pay upfront and unlimited ongoing support until you land the role. So, okay, now let's go into the Q&A session. And I have all of your questions right here. Oh my God, there's quite a bunch. Thank you so much for doing that. And thank you so much for Nicole for helping us gather all of the questions. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so I'm gonna go from, there are different categories. So I'm gonna answer personal branding and LinkedIn positioning type of questions because I know this is the place where most people trip. Ryan is asking, can a LinkedIn headline be too long? I'm trying to include everything I do, but I'd love to know how to make it clearer and more optimized. Okay, so the first thing, and that's the practical part, I would say there is a character limit on your LinkedIn profile. I'm not 100% sure, but probably it's around 200 characters, 200 or 250 characters. So that's the number one thing you want to keep in mind. Now, the length is, yes, that's the issue because there's a limit, but it's a lot more about what you are adding into that headline. The formula I suggest my clients using is your title. If you are not employed, you can add what your target title is. Then 3 keywords, those will be the top 3 keywords that show up in every single job description that you would like to target. Then your value proposition. And the classic formula is, I help this type of companies bring this type of results. And when I say results, I mean metrics, I mean quantifiable results, not like I help companies bring revenue. Like I help health tech startups bring 30% in pipeline from partnerships, for example, something very, very specific. And then last but not least, anything that is unique to you. For example, I once had Latina or Varun. He had founder of Go PMM, which is his community. So something that is unique to you. It's not about including everything. It's about including the right things. Okay, then we go to Taylor. Okay, this is a good one. Antonella is asking, what type of posts do you recommend us focusing on? Not in a desperate, but smart way. I think this is a great question. And actually, that's something I hear every single time when we get into this model. I would say, think of Antonella or yourself a couple of years ago. Think about what your younger self would love to have known at that stage that you know right now. Focus on posts that are educational, where you are teaching something, where you are sharing something that you already know and that you have worked on. I once, when I was trying to build my content strategy, I received this advice. Think about what you didn't know 2 years ago that you wish you know right now. So basically, for example, if Antonella, you are a product marketer and right now you are leading a team, probably at that time, 2 years ago, you were not leading a team. So right now you can tell Antonella of 2 years ago, this is how I would organize how I would build my product marketing team and what should they focus on. Something, again, something that you wish you had known before. That's one. And the number two is documenting your work. Use LinkedIn. Well, okay. I was going to say use LinkedIn as your diary. Don't use LinkedIn as your diary, but more like documenting the work that you have done. Probably you have wins on your resume. If you have a portfolio, those are your case studies. Turn those case studies into different posts. You can have one case study on how you help certain company drive 30% in revenue. You can turn that case study in 3 different posts. So you can do experience posts, thinking what you have done before, like what would younger self would like, and documenting your work. That's not desperate. It's just sharing what you know. And if I have answered your question and you have any follow-ups, you can also leave that in the chat. Oh, this is a great one. From Daniela, how do you juggle your actual 9 to 6 job while building your personal brand and networking? Due to my position, there are days that I don't even have time for lunch breaks or end the day too exhausted to network on LinkedIn. And I think this is so fair because truth is, job search is already a full-time job. And actually, Jess, the girl that shared her story with us, she had a full-time job when we started working together and doing all the things. So I will say, number one, you will need to be organized. But if you commit to something for at least, let's say, 2 hours of your week, that's already something. I have worked with people that say, I'm going to go all in doing this. And probably they try to spend 5 to 10 hours going into their search, but they end up going in circles. They don't achieve anything. They are distracted. That's not going to work. I'd rather you saying, I'm going to focus for 2 hours doing one single task, but do it well. So what do some people do? Probably it's not 1 hour. Probably it's 30 minutes, 15 minutes every day or every other day. The important part is you being consistent. You show up and you have a routine. Probably for the first 15 minutes, you're going to engage. Probably for the next 15 minutes, you're going to send DMs, and that's it. Half hour every single day or every other week. Not every other week, every other day. And that's already 2 hours in your week that you are putting towards building this career insurance, your personal branding, and your networking. And again, networking is not about becoming friends and messaging people every single day. It's about opening that door. And probably that can happen in an exchange of 3 to 4 DMs. So I'm not going to tell you this is super easy, but I will say it does require more effort, but there's definitely a way of building that into your regular routine that doesn't feel exhausting. But it's also about building a routine that works for you. Because I can tell you, do these 15 minutes a day, but probably for you, that's harder. But if you tell me, Gina, I can do this every other day, then that's great. Show up consistently. And remember, it takes at least 30 days to build a habit. So if you can keep up with this for 30 days, the rest will become easier. Okay, now let's go to another question. Okay, this is great. This is about portfolios from Yuval. Are you able to speak to the structure of marketing online portfolios? I have one, but I've never received formal feedback before. Yes, of course. And that's actually something we looked at in detail, but I will tell you, portfolios are your case studies. It's where you're going to show what you did, how you did it. And I can tell you there is a structure that you can use to communicate your case studies. And probably everyone here has heard about that. It would be STAR, the famous STAR: situation, task, action, result. That's how you tell a story. And most of it makes it easier for people to follow your story and to read what you are trying to communicate. In terms of design, there are a lot of platforms that you can use. Some people use Notion. I love Notion if you are not a very visual person. I have seen portfolios on Canva that's a lot more design friendly. I have seen great portfolios in Lovable, Replit, what else? Other website like Website Makers and Lovable is like super, super easy. Gamma, if you haven't heard of Gamma, I am a power user. I love it. My presentation is made on Gamma, but it also allows you to make really great portfolios. The testimonial I shared from Eric, who had this portfolio, he made it in Gamma. So yeah, it's actually about curating your portfolio. On the content is curating your portfolio with your top achievements that target a variety of skills that relate to the job descriptions or to the target roles that you want. So let's say you have 10 jobs. And this is an exercise that I encourage my clients to do. Go out there, look into job boards, collect 10 job descriptions, 10 roles that just by reading it, you feel excited and you would like to do. We're gonna draw patterns. What are the skills that show up every single time across those 10 job descriptions? And probably, let's say you're looking for a partnerships job. It's probably gonna be revenue pipeline from partnerships. And you actually have a great case study that speaks about that. Like probably in a company, 50% of the revenue came from the work that you did building a function from 0 to 1 on partnerships. So that's a great case study because that's going to touch on probably the majority of the jobs that you would like to share. So that's how I would curate my portfolio. That's the structure I would use and the tool that I would use to build that. We actually have a lot of questions. Okay. If I don't get to a specific question, because I know we are already 20 minutes after 11, I'm going to spend another 10 minutes answering questions. If I don't get to yours, I will certainly DM you and give you my answer. Okay, so, okay, I will already mentioned that. Yes, you will get the recording. Yes, you will get all of these. Do we need to have 7 years of experience to join your program? I only have 5 years. Actually, this works best for senior marketers. And for example, Jess, the girl that shared her story, she had at that time 6 years of experience. So she was definitely in between. So if you're interested, I do encourage you to book a call because then we can see if the program is a fit for you. If you are early in your career, if you're 1 year in marketing, or if you're trying to pivot into marketing, I'm going to say this is not for you. But if you have, let's say, 6 to 7 years, I'm 100% sure this will work for you. So I encourage you to book a call. Then, okay, you spoke about building a strong network. I've messaged multiple hiring managers and people in similar career roles, but I barely get responses or meaningful starter conversations. How do you fix this? This is a great question, but one I may not have the full context about. The reason why I'm sharing this is because I hear from different marketers that they are networking. They are sending messages and they don't hear back. And that sometimes happened with people I work with. So I had more access to see what are the types of DMs they are sending. Once I see their DMs, it's more like, hey, I see you work at Safety Wing. Do you have 15 minutes to chat? Or they send a connection request. Hey, I saw you are a marketer in tech and I would love to connect. Then they accept the connection request, but they don't reply and nothing happens. How are you doing your outreach? And how are you optimizing for your target audience to give you a reply? Now, if you're messaging recruiters and hiring managers after you have applied to get 15 minutes of their time, I'm telling you, it's not going to work. Why? Because people are not going to give you their time, which is our most precious resource, for someone they barely know or that someone hasn't done anything for them. Okay, so I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to go back to the examples with Joey from Safety Wing and Kim from Bright Hire. What are the great elements of networking? Being likable, asking good questions, signal commonalities. So this will take you to put on your detective hat. You're going to go to their profile, or you're going to see exactly like what have they done, what have their pivots been, where have they worked, if they share something else if they have shared something else in their about section. So this exactly happened with a client, and he was Oh, there was this person who saw his profile. In LinkedIn, there is a section who viewed my profile, and you can see interesting viewers. And he saw this profile, and he was like, but I don't know what to tell her. So I was looking at her profile, and this was a director of product marketing, because this person wanted a product marketing job. So it was very interesting. In her experience, her background it was actually civil engineering, and then civil engineering, and then her next role was product marketing. But it didn't say a lot about that. It was just like the title and something civil engineer and then product marketing in tech. And I was like probably you read that and you don't think too much about it. You're just like, oh, this person pivot. But actually, that's a very interesting thing about this person, who was actually not sharing a lot on their about section. So what did this person do? He sent a connection request, and he was like, hey, X person, I saw you are in product marketing and noticed that you have transitioned from civil engineering to product marketing so smoothly. And I would love to learn more about how you did that. I would love to connect. That's it. Super short, super straight to the point. Send a connection request. The connection request was accepted. And then what happened? This person didn't reply. And probably you're there and you're like, yeah, this has happened a lot for me. Like, no one replies to my connection request. You are the owner of that conversation. You are the CEO of your search. You need to carry that conversation forward. So what's going to happen? You're going to ask a question, because what in earth invites an answer? It's a question. But you're not going to make like a simple question, something that you can find on their profile. You're going to ask very specific questions. So if this person didn't reply to you, I would go like, hey, I'm really interested in what was your motivation for going from civil engineering into the director marketing role at this type of company. I'm really looking forward to make a similar transition, or I'm coming from, what is a very weird, okay, I'm coming from sales to marketing. And I would love to know what were 3 things that made this a success for you. Very specific and really tapping in something that this person did. And you're complimenting this person, because you're also saying like, that's so cool that you did this pivot. So those would be the elements of great networking, great outreach that invites answers. You don't message people saying, I need a role. I need to talk to you right now. That's why I am very, very specific with building relationships before you actually need them. Of course, if you're going to message people right after you have applied to a job, there's also a good way and a wrong way to do that. Good way, signaling which role you're applying for, adding 3 bullet points of 3 achievements that speak very specifically to that target role. When I say achievements, I mean results. And remember, context plus metrics equals impact. You always want to talk in impact language. And last but not least, you want to include either a video resume. That's something that has worked very well for my clients, a very short 1 to 2 minute video resume, or you want to include your portfolio. That's why having a portfolio is very important. The likelihood of getting a response to that kind of messages is lower, but it still works. So that's my advice when it comes to networking. Then, Gina, I really want to book a call with you. Thank you so much. May I ask to share with us what will happen in the call? Sure. So I have shared what the program includes. So on the call, we're going to confirm that you are a good fit to the program. That means that you are the candidate that will get the best results out of this program, because I'm not on the business of making money out of people that I know they cannot get results. So if you cannot get results, I'm going to tell you very honestly, I'm going to refer you to someone who can. But if you're a fit, I will invite you to become a client. We are going to decide on your starting date. We're going to set up payment on the call, and then we're going to get you onboarded. So if you are ready to go, let's say by May 21st, then Friday we get you onboarded and you're ready to start on Monday. Is your program mainly for people who have built a career in SaaS? I've had freelance role in SaaS, but that is Now, my main career, I would say it works best for people who have built a career in SaaS or that want to transition into SaaS. If you have had freelance roles in SaaS and are looking to follow a career in this path, this works best for this type of people because it's built on principles that works best in this industry. However, I had people from FMCG, Kraft Heinz, that have signed up and they have gotten good results out from that. So it's also an option. But again, I will say it works best for people who are in tech. Okay. Oh, this is a good one. Job search strategy. From Karen, what's the best way to find companies you would like to work with, especially since there are so many new companies emerging? How can this also help us identify the right people to connect with? This is a great question and it's so packed with value. The best way to find companies you would like to work with. Okay. There are different strategies that you can follow. Some resources that I provide my clients are databases of companies working from anywhere, but you can also, and this is a very simple starting point, Google search. And I know this is probably like, duh, like, are you going to take me to Google search? The reason why I'm telling you to do that is because that will give you a starting point. Probably if you know your target is health tech companies, you're going to go in Google, start a search, give me the top 50 health tech companies that hire remotely. You're going to get a bunch of articles and probably a bunch of lists. You're going to go to those lists. You're going to search those companies on LinkedIn. Then you go to LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, you're going to open the company page. And I'm going to answer the other question and then I'm going to go back to the first question. How do you identify the right people to connect with? You go to the company page on LinkedIn, and then there is a tab that says people. Then there is a keyword search bar because you're probably going to see all of the people that have worked there before or that are working at the company right now, not specific to marketing. So then on the search bar, you're going to add marketing. Okay. Then you're going to see all of the people that work in marketing previously and right now. Again, put on your detective hat. And this is all about searching. This is like really being like super specific with that. You're going to put on your detective hat and we're going to start to make theories. Okay, if I want to go for a marketing manager type of role, who is the person that's most likely that I'm going to be reporting to? That's probably the head of marketing. That's probably the senior marketing manager. That's probably the VP of marketing, depending how big the company is and what the structure is. From there, you're going to want to talk to the hiring manager, the skip level manager, people on your team. That may be other marketers like peers, probably junior roles as well. If you are looking for a hiring manager type of role, you want to try to look for people that you think they're going to be reporting up to you. You want to look for people that have been hired recently at that company. The reason why is that people who have been hired recently have the excitement level up like probably for the next 30, 60 to 90 days. So they are most likely to reply to you and share their experience with that company with you. You'll also want to look for former employees, either in that same role or in the same department. So you already have at least 3 to 5 people you want to be connecting with. Again, connection request, likable, specific, clear, simple messages. Now, how do you find other companies that you want to work at? LinkedIn is an algorithm-based type of social network, which means you fit this algorithm based on the searches you make. The more heads of marketing you see, the more companies in health tech you see, the algorithm on your feed and on your right-hand section, it's going to show you a lot more of that content. So if you go to the right-hand section, there is this column that says like people with similar profiles looked at these people or something like that. I cannot remember. And you will see more people like the ones you have already been seeing. Other companies like this, that's on the same column. And then you discover new companies, but you need to start from somewhere. That's why you do these searches on Google, And then from there, it's like a chain effect. You find a lot more companies. You can also follow people on LinkedIn, like me, that we share job roundups, we share company lists every week. Then you can also discover new types of companies. One person that comes to mind right now, his name is Ben Lang. BenLang. He shares probably every single day a lot of companies in tech. So people like him, those are a great example of people that you want to follow to know other types of companies. Just confirm the first column. Okay, let's take a look at another question. Oh, this is a great one. From Talita, what if we don't have any metrics, numbers to show? Because the company doesn't really measure anything and changes the roadmap too often. That's a great question. And I'm going to say, guess whose responsibility is that? If the company doesn't measure anything, you have to do that. And I'm saying this out of the kindness of my heart because I have struggled with that before, and I have seen clients struggling with that because they never thought of putting down the things they have done. So this is more of a for the future, for your future self type of note. It doesn't matter if your company doesn't measure anything, you always have to be documenting your work. Something that I like to do, that I used to do in my previous jobs, and that I recommend my clients to do is to build a brag book. A brag book is, it can be a Notion, it can be your notepad, it can be an actual notebook, like a physical notebook, anything. And every single time there is a win, you achieve something, you're noting that down as best as you can. Oh, I was gonna say something, but I forgot. Yeah. So the goal is that you're actually never missing anything, and later you can go back to those wins and put them in your resume, in your portfolio, and wherever that matters. Now, you are struggling with this right now. You are like, Gina, but I still don't have metrics. What do I do? Something that I suggest is start from your performance metrics. I'm not saying the number itself, but the performance metric. For example, let's say in the role that you have, you help the company increase revenue coming from marketing activities. Increase revenue, that's your performance metric. Now, in your memory, what's your estimation? It will depend on your on the type of industry, on the function, on the size of the company. Probably if you say I brought 3 million in pipeline for a startup of 2 people, it's probably going to be very wild. Or maybe no, it depends if it's a unicorn. But what I'm trying to say is that you can make your best estimation based on the data and the information that you have. Why? I'm going to assure you, and as I mentioned this before, hiring managers are not obsessing over every single tiny detail in your resume. They are obsessed about impact, and impact is context plus metrics. So you can say you help the company bring in more revenue and increase the revenue by an estimated of 30%. That's going to be already good enough. I'm not going to go and call your former manager and be like, oh, hey, like Talita did really increase the revenue for 30%. That's not going to happen. But it's going to give you a good starting point when it comes to those metrics. But again, you need to have very clear what's the impact that you have brought. What are those performance metrics? Whether that's revenue, whether that's open rates, whether that's leads converted, etc. Like depending on your discipline. Then okay, Karen is asking, what if you can share results? And we're still talking about portfolios. What if you cannot share results, but you have results from your own platforms? What's the best way to showcase that as proof? If from your own platforms means well, it really depends what you're asking about. But I'm going to say, and if you want to clarify in the chat, that's perfectly fine. If you cannot share client results, don't share them. I understand some people sign NDAs or any type of agreement And actually, some of my clients have been through that. They cannot share very specific numbers like revenue generated, for example. So what do we do is probably if they generated 3 million in revenue, let's say that's an example, we say 7-figure. I help this company bring 7-figure in revenue. If you cannot share the name of the company, what do you say? Probably it's a health tech company that has health tech company with 70 people in Series A. I helped a Series A health tech company bring 6 figures in revenue. You are not giving away confidential information, but you are still sharing what you did. If you are saying I have results from my own platforms, like from information you have built yourself, or if you're talking about, for example, your own freelance content, social media, I would say you can do that. As long as, again, you haven't signed an NDA and everything is like super legal, because I don't want you to get into legal trouble after. But again, like I may not be understanding your question quite well. So if you want to clarify in the chat, I'm happy to take a look at that again. Okay, this is a great question about people who have multi-layered professional profiles and different industries. Okay, how about a profile with experience across multiple industries, but where the candidate held the same or similar roles throughout? And I think that's a great question, because sometimes you may not be married to a specific industry. In that case, what are the threats of the companies you would like to work at? Probably is companies that haven't hit 1 million in ARR. Early stage companies with small marketing team functions, or pre-seed companies with no marketing functions, like you would be the first marketing hire. Sometimes you don't need a very, very specific industry like health tech or HR tech, but you need a common trait or patterns across different industries, more over than industries, but companies. What are the traits of companies that you would like to work at? And how do you communicate that into words? Again, like it can be number of employees working at that company, the stage, even the challenges they are working with. It can be, I would like to work with companies that are building better travel experiences for others. That's an example, and that's probably more like travel tech, but maybe travel experiences can be not necessarily travel tech. It can also span other type of industry, for example. So you don't necessarily need to like explicitly enunciate an industry. It can be threads across those different industries. And you already have held the title there, so you're more likely to get a response from those because you have held the title, versus if you like have never held the title before and your industries are all over the place. And Victoria is asking, how about a multi-layered profile? How does the market perceive such applicants? Depends what you are referring to when you say multi-layered. The way I understand it is people who have done different types of roles, different types of industries that are not necessarily tied to marketing. Like probably you can come from sales, or you can come from different types of background. Like this lady I mentioned about, she was a civil engineer and now she's a director of product marketing. The perception of the market depends on what you tell them. What's the perception you want hiring managers to have from your profile? How does your unique story how has that like unique part of yourself? It can be different industries, it can be different roles, it can be different locations. How has that shaped the marketer you are today? And how has that motivated the type of roles or the type of companies that you are searching for today? It's not about how the market will perceive you. It's about what you're telling the market they should perceive you. Because as we talked about, we all have a personal brand. We all have a positioning. The difference is who is shaping that. Are you letting people decide for you? Because what happens? People naturally see different types of roles, different types of industries, and what's the most natural thing they will think? This person doesn't know what they want. This person has done so many different things. Will they be good at the role I'm hiring for? That's the psychology behind hiring, because that's the most natural reaction people have. That's why you don't want to let other people shaping that perception for you. You want to go out there and you want to shape that story, that unique story for them. And a very practical way how that shows like is in your about section. That's why every single LinkedIn profile I work on, anyhow with my clients, starts from one experience. What is this experience that has shaped your work as a marketer today? It's probably that, again, you were a civil engineering and now you want marketing roles. And how has being a civil engineering shaped you into the marketer that you are today? We're going to talk about that on your LinkedIn profile, probably if you want, on your headline, and you're going to talk about that again and again and again in your story. It can be in posts, it can be in comments as you are engaging with people. This is repeatable concepts that you're sharing with other people that, number one, normalize multi-layer profiles, and that's something people really love. Because in my experience, non-traditional career paths or portfolio careers, that's the concept I was looking for. Portfolio careers are the most interesting careers out there. So yeah, that's my answer for that. It's up to you to shape this. And I think those are most of the questions we have today. Yeah, and just one person is asking, just to confirm, the first call before May 21st would be to see if there is a fit for the program, not to start directly. If you're going to book a call, I would say you are 95% you're sure that you want to move forward. Again, I'm not in the business of wasting people's times. So if you are not ready, if this is not a priority for you right now, I would say if this is not an excruciating pain for you right now, you can hold up on that. And let's revisit this when it's a better time for you. This doesn't mean that if you book a call, it doesn't mean we're going to start right away and that it will be the first call. No, it will mean we're going to see if the program will give you the best results, and we're going to set up your start date. Your start date can be next week. It can be within 2 weeks. It can be within 3 weeks, but we're going to work on that together. But you do need to show up committed and sure that this is the right move for you and that you are committed to make this change right now. Okay, so I think there has been a lot of questions and a lot of activity in the chat. Thank you so much for joining. And I know it was like 1 hour, 44 minutes. It was like supercharged. Really, thank you, everyone. I was not even looking at the number of participants and people we still had in the chat, but it seems like around a lot. Okay, 29 already. Thank you so much. And yeah, if there is anything else you want to share with me, I'm always available in the DMs. I will for sure be DMing you later, and I will send this recording later. Thank you so much for joining, and I will see you next time. Bye. Thank you, everyone.